we have basically eradicated almost Down syndrome from our society, that there is hardly ever a child born with Down syndrome in Iceland anymore.
So that report on the abortion of children with Down syndrome in Iceland ignited a firestorm. And now one state is taking steps against such practices here. The Pennsylvania State House overwhelmingly passed a bill that would ban abortion for babies who may have Down syndrome. Regardless, the bill faces a tough road ahead, as the state's Democratic governor is among the opponents. A spokesperson saying, quote, Pennsylvania Republicans are trying once again to criminalize a health care decision that Governor Wolf has made clear should be made by a woman and her doctor, not politicians in Harrisburg. Here now, Dr. Gina Loudon is a psychology expert and creator of, quote, They All Have Names, a nonprofit that helps families adopt children like her son Samuel, who has Down syndrome. Dr. Loudon, good to have you here tonight.
Always great to be with you.
We sort of follow this. There are several states that are taking measures along these lines, and they're looking for ways to ban these abortions that are based on early markers in testing that is done when someone's pregnant that say there's a possibility that there are some markers that could indicate Down syndrome. Sometimes those markers turn out to be false positives for Down syndrome.
True.
When you look at this and you see what's happening in these states, what goes through your mind?
Well, I'm glad that states like Pennsylvania are taking steps to recognize that as a culture, Martha, we talk a lot about tolerance and about civility and those sorts of things. And then at the same time, is there anything more heinous or more discriminating than killing someone based on a disability? I mean, we have to really ask ourselves that question as a culture. But like anything, you follow the money. There's a reason why that a legislature like the one in Pennsylvania can pass this by such a wide margin. I believe the numbers were like 139 to 56 or something. Right. But the governor opposes it, and he's a Democrat, and that's by design, Martha, because about $1.5 million of taxpayer money is spent every day on abortion, and most of that ends up in Democrat politicians' coffers. It's just the reality.
Yeah, I mean, you make such an interesting point in terms of tolerance. That is something that, you know, most people try to embrace about our society in general. But you heard the lawmaker who said that he believes that this is interfering with a decision that he believes should be made between a woman and her doctor.
Well, if this really isn't about money going into Democrat coffers, great. Then how about these same Democrat lawmakers propose bills that fund families when there are hundreds of them waiting, like my family adopting Samuel, hundreds of families waiting in the United States to adopt these babies? Why not fund those efforts? Adoption is an expensive process to begin with. It can cost between anywhere from like $10,000 to $50,000 to adopt a child with special needs. And at the same time, there are no monies available for that on the federal level. Instead, the money goes into killing the babies, which is, in my opinion, the worst form of discrimination against someone with a disability ever.
Yeah. Well, as you point out, there is another choice, and They All Have Names helps to connect people who may not feel that they're equipped to carry out, to take care of this child, and they can find adoptive homes. And there's lists and lists of them waiting to be adopted. Thank you, or to adopt them, rather. Dr. Gina Loudon, thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you tonight. Thanks.
Martha. You too.
Quick break. We'll be right back with more story.